Michigan, TCU, Max Duggan. We all saw in the game against Kansas State, the Big 12 championship game, in a losing effort, but he has the ability to play hero ball. When things aren't going well for TCU, they just run 3-4 guys down the field. He waits till they take off. He just runs, and he can knock a couple guys over. If you put a linebacker on him that is big, he'll outrun him. A smaller linebacker, he might just lower his shoulder and knock him over, get an extra 6, 8, 10 yards in his own right. Michigan needs to hit him while he's in the pocket, force him to pass the ball, and is doing such. Double think a couple passes, get hit. When you hit him, make sure you do it hard enough that he thinks twice about scrambling later on in the game, because if he is going to be the difference in this game for TCU, win the game, I think it's going to be just like we saw against Kansas State, although they lost the game, is Michigan will be up by 10 points, 14 points in the fourth quarter, and he will play hero ball. Michigan, hit Max Duggan so hard his grandmama can feel it. I think you're going to win this game. It is my TCU Michigan mega preview. I'm your host, James Yoder. We are going to dive into my 5 things Michigan needs to do to win the game. My keys to the victory, as I am rocking a little Michigan Football Report sponsor alert. It is Roan. As you see, I am versatile as hell. I take the Roan shirt. I wear it when we're doing stupid human tricks here at the show. I wear it with a sports coat. I'm going to wear it to go out to dinner later on tonight. I love my Roan. It is roan.com/chatsports. 20% off when you use promo code chatsports. No spaces. Get the commuter collection. I'm wearing the Roan shirt. And hell, check out these pants. These Roan commuter pants are amazing. All right, guys. We've done this for 2 seasons now. It's worked every single time, except for Michigan State last year. I know who you are that didn't like the video, but if you would like Michigan to beat TCU, give me a like on today's video. It is just putting out the good vibes, right? You helping us, the show, put this in the feed of more Michigan football fans, so you're doing a good thing for the program, getting more exposure for this show, and it's putting out good vibes, right? All the vibes. Michigan beats TCU. Don't be sitting there on Saturday night, New Year's Eve, the clock strikes midnight. You've been putting your hands over your face for 6 straight hours because Michigan potentially lost. It's all your fault. If you don't like the video, of course it is. All right, so let's take a look at TCU's 3-3-5 defense. As we gotten closer to game time, right? It's been game week now. Now we're 3 days out from this game. I'm surprised that the spread is not bigger in this game when you think about the defense that TCU is running. And they've given up plenty of points this year at times. They've had a ton of close games, but this defense doesn't make a lot of sense to me for one that could potentially stop Michigan. I don't want to change my score prediction. I've been saying 35-15 for a few weeks here, but will TCU potentially switch away from their 3-3-5 Big 12 defense? A lot of passing schemes, right? Outside of who's the one team that gave them a lot of trouble? Kansas State. Should have beat them twice if they weren't on their third-string quarterback. Did beat them when all the marbles were on the line to go to the college football playoff. Now, they still made it, but that 3-3-5 defense really seems to struggle against power teams that can use their offensive line, use their tight ends, use 6-7 offensive linemen sometimes to push the pile forward, get running lanes, get things going. I think that it's going to be an interesting thing to see if they stick with that 3-3-5 defense. TCU Insider told me they're going to go man coverage. I was like, all right, good luck. They've got great cornerbacks, much better than Ohio State. But if that's a 3-3-5 defense, 3 guys in the front trying to fill gaps, we saw what Zach Zinter, Olu Oluwatimi, and others did against Ohio State, and they have a hell of a lot more talent than TCU does. Guys, I'm sure many of you are just like me and have a social life. You have parenting responsibilities, and heck, you'd like to hit the golf course sometimes while on company time. Well, I've got a solution to the hassle of changing clothes between your daily activities. You saw me just do it here live on the Michigan Football Report, and it's the commuter collection from Roan athletic dress pants, shirts, and apparel. I'm rocking a Roan shirt. I'm rocking a Roan commuter pants right now, both part of the commuter collection, which is the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man. Men's closets were due for radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. Here's why you should get Roan. They help you get ready for any occasion with the commuter collection, which offers the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, and polos. You never have to worry about what to wear when you have Roan, the Roan commuter collection. Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy what life throws your way, from your commute to work to your 18 holes of golf. It's time to feel confident without the hassle. With Rome's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. With Gold Fusion, their anti-odor technology, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. On top of that, Rome is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaners altogether. Folks, I love being comfort. I love wearing clothes that are flexible. I want to go from the office to the golf course, to the bar, to sushi, hell, to my son's t-ball or soccer game, and I can do so with Rome. Let me show you how this shirt, look how stretchable that shirt is, comes back. This thing was kind of wrinkly when I put it on, looking awesome, where the sports coat, could put a tie on with it, can put shorts on with it, wherever I need. I love wearing my Roan. I've got the Roan shirt, I've got the Roan commuter pants. These things are amazing. It feels like I'm wearing tuxedo pants on the outside. On the inside, it feels like I'm wearing sweatpants. Go to roan.com/chatsports. That's RHONE.com/chatsports. 20% off your order and free shipping. How about on offense? Max Duggan, you know the name, the Heisman runner-up. Great performances all year. I mean, he did it from the start of the year. It's really interesting. Both these teams, TCU, Michigan, TCU, Michigan, what do they have in common from the quarterback perspective? Their quarterback in this game was not the opening day starter. Chandler Morris was the starter for TCU. Did he get hurt? I can't even remember what happened with him. He got hurt, and then Duggan came in, who was the starter the last couple seasons, got his starting job back, and never relented it. Kendre Miller, great stats so far this year. 1,300 yards. He's averaging 100 yards per game or more. 17 touchdowns, though. That is a big-time number. And this guy, Quentin Johnston, might be the best NFL might be the best NFL prospect on this team. So being projected as a first-round draft pick from what we're seeing in all the latest mock drafts. So keep an eye out for those three guys. Now we're going to dive into my 5 keys to beating TCU. And the number one is, it was my number 5. I've moved it up to number 1. Hits to the max, right? Max being Max Duggan. And you can't just hit him once or twice, because you saw what he was doing. And I mean, I can't keep going back to that Big 12 championship game, but that was the game that the entire country was watching. Now, it was a losing effort, but I think everyone gained some respect from what Max Duggan can do against a really strong defense in Kansas State when his team absolutely needed him, down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. Now, let's take a look at the stats here. Very good stats, 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 3,300 yards, completing 65% of his passes. But I think he can potentially beat Michigan is not through the pass. I want TCU to pass in this game. I want them to throw the ball. I don't want them to have running success, and then Michigan's got to creep up and stop the run a little bit. Then the passing game opens up a little bit, or that linebacker, maybe it's R.J. Moten or others, are spying on him. They've got to now come up and give run support, and Max Duggan goes freaking out on the left side, up the right side, up the sideline. He can deliver a hit just as well as he can take one. So where Michigan needs to make an impact when he's passing the ball, get to him and hit him hard, make sure he feels it. Don't hurt him, but make sure he is questioning himself every time he goes to drop back in the pass or goes to scramble. If he gets a scramble, don't let him just slide. If you can, don't get a penalty or anything like that, but lay a hit on him every time he's got the ball in his hands. I think Michigan can then win this game. How about a faster start? What is Michigan's MO been this year? It's been starting relatively slow, right? We're not talking about against Hawaii or Colorado State or UConn when you're up 42 or 49 at halftime. We're talking about against Maryland, against Penn State, right? Against Ohio State, down in a couple of those games. And then it starts getting in the middle of the third quarter, and then all of a sudden Michigan starts taking off. Now, why do they do that? Michigan has been forcing teams to, once they get down 1 score, 3.7 points, forcing teams in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter to pass the ball more than they normally have. Okay, cool. Michigan's secondary has been excellent this year. So that's one good thing from Michigan's perspective. And then Michigan's offensive line takes over. We saw it against Penn State. We clearly saw it against Purdue. We saw it in spades against Ohio State, 75 yards, 85 yards. But what Michigan hasn't faced is the best close game team in the country, and that is the TCU Horned Frogs. Every single game this year, basically, for them has been a one-score game for the most part, except for 1 or 2 in the fourth quarter. They are the best close game team I've seen in college football in years. The only close game they lost was the game they were down, 10 points, right, in the fourth quarter, or was it 14? I can't remember. 10 points, came back, tied the ball game, 11. They actually go for 2, you're right, and then went to overtime. We're this close to winning a Big 12 or having the opportunity to win a Big 12 championship. Michigan, I'll feel comfortable. If they're down 3, maybe down 7 at halftime, I'll still feel comfortable. But the odds that they're going to win that game are much lower than teams like Penn State and others. So start faster in this game. I really think Michigan needs to do it to have some comfort going into the third and fourth quarters. Let me know what you guys think, how many passing yards JJ will have against TCU. Look, he's only had one 300-yard passing game all year so far. So I think anyone predicting 300 yards, 400 yards, anything crazy like that is just setting themselves up for being wrong and being disappointed in some way. So let me know how many passing yards. I'm going to go with 237 yards passing for J.J. McCarthy, 2 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. All right, why is TCU so good in close games? If you guys remember, a few weeks back, we had Harrison Graham from Chat Sports' College Football Now and a couple of the shows, Bears Now and such. He basically said it all comes down to Max Duggan and then their defense. When things tighten up, their defense has been able to make stops, been able to kind of clamp down on offenses, which is expected of a team that is 12-1 and in the college football playoff. Very similar to Michigan. But what gives them the ability to win 7-point games, 3-point games, 10-point games, 9-point games over? I don't know the answer necessarily. So I asked the question to you guys. I think that all in, they just have something special as a team that all came together this year. Max Duggan kind of took a big leap forward as a quarterback. They've got skill position players, and they've got maybe the best cornerback combo in the country, including the Jim Thorpe Award winner. So those things all combined, I think this game might look like a cakewalk. I've been talking to people in and around the state of Texas. Everyone's like, Michigan by 30, Michigan by 40, Michigan's going to win 50-0. I've heard these from people in Texas who watch TCU closer than I do. I don't think it's that easy for this Wolverines team. My take, folks, is Michigan's one of the best second-half teams, maybe in college football history, but you can't let TCU stick around because they might be one of the best close game teams college football seen in a number of years. If it's in the fourth quarter, it's a 3-point game, 7-point game. Max Duggan could be the difference for the Horned Frogs. So I think Michigan's my second point on the list today. A faster start for Michigan, I think, is absolutely critical for this team. All right, guys, we'll keep it rolling here. Got more things to get to, but I want to make sure you guys are following me on Twitter. I've been tweeting out all kinds of highlights over the last couple of weeks. Just been retweeting and putting out all the best highlights from the Michigan-Ohio State game, Michigan-Purdue game. Hell, put Donovan Edwards' pass in the Big Ten Championship game last year up on my Twitter earlier on Wednesday. So make sure you're following me. It's at James Yoder on Twitter. All right, how about number 3? Stop the run, more pass. Why do I say that? Best games this year for TCU, the games that they weren't necessarily always in close one-score battles down the stretch or when teams had to come back on them, are the games that they were able to run the ball and then passing became easy. So Max Duggan, although he is the Heisman runner-up, I don't necessarily think that he's a guy who can sit in the pocket and pick Michigan apart. He can, though, if they're breaking off 6, 7, 8 yards every time that they carry the ball with Kendre Miller. Take a look at the stats here. Last 3 games, 42 carries, 195 yards, 4 touchdowns. Now, the one thing in general here, the 4 touchdowns are good, but he's only averaging 60 yards a game or so, 65 yards a game over the last 3. And TCU has actually struggled in a couple of those and got their first loss. So you limit Kendre Miller, force Max Duggan to pass the ball more. I think Michigan is going to have a much easier time with this team. Now, in general, I think Michigan's defense has not seen an offense identical to TCU. Probably the most identical offense I could probably say to them might be Georgia, just with better rated players, right? Better ground game, doesn't throw the ball a ton, quarterback who can scramble but isn't necessarily a huge running threat, and we saw with that kind of offense with Georgia with obviously better players did against Michigan last year. Sit at 25,466 subscribers here on YouTube, almost over 500 from when we started last week's live show. So I had 500 in the past week. If you guys watch, we hit 25,000 live on air. We popped champagne, got nuts, tossed some confetti up last week. So if you've yet to do so, please subscribe. It's youtube.com/Michigan TV. Don't let TCU win the 50-50 balls. And what do I mean by that? The jump balls, when they have the opportunity, when they need a play. And I think from the film I've seen of them, it's kind of weird. I hate, as a fan, when it's 3rd and 12, when the team throws the jump ball 40 yards downfield. But TCU does it with a higher frequency than I've expected a lot of teams to do, and they win a lot of them. And that's the problem. It kind of reminds me of Penn State a number of years ago, where they were just winning jump balls left and right, and that became their entire offense. I think it was the 2016 season when they won the Big Ten. This is the guy they're going to go to, Quentin Johnston. Top 30 NFL prospect, probably be a first-round draft pick, 53 catches, 903 yards. Now, only 5 touchdowns, but if he gets deep with Will Johnson, with any admissions, DJ Turner with Gemon Green, he is going to get up and win those jump balls over Michigan's wide receivers, probably more often than not. And so what Michigan needs to do is make sure you shadow him, make sure you have help coming over the top, because if he's left outside one-on-one, just kind of like the one long touchdown Ohio State had with Marvin Harrison, he didn't necessarily win a jump ball, but that ball was right there for Michigan to make a play on. The Ohio State player, obviously 5-star, came through, All-American player, and made the catch. Quentin Johnston is a legit deep threat, legit NFL wide receiver. Michigan needs to be very cognizant of him. They cannot run the same defense against TCU as they ran against Ohio State because the running threat of Max Duggan, and so that leaves more opportunities for the wide receivers for TCU to get downfield in one-on-one situations. And last but not least, I don't think any team in college football, outside of maybe Georgia and maybe Ohio State potentially, but we saw they couldn't do it, can score 30 points on this Michigan defense. So if Michigan scores 30 points, they should win the game. I've got my score prediction as 35-15. That's really what I'm hoping for. And I think whether Michigan scores 30, more than 30, less than 30, it's going to come down to J.J. McCarthy. He's really had an outstanding last couple games. 6 of his 20 passing touchdowns have come against Ohio State and Purdue in the last 2 games. Only 3 interceptions. One of those was a really bad pass. One of them wasn't necessarily his fault, and one of them definitely wasn't his fault. So he's had an excellent TD to interception ratio so far this year. J.J. McCarthy, can he continue to grow with 28 days between their last game and this one? Can he kind of take this as a renewed fall camp, a renewed spring football, taking all the number 1 snaps and open up the ball through the air, put the ball where it needs to go to put Michigan in the end zone? I've got it at Michigan 35-15. Let me know what you guys are thinking. We can probably skip that part about me predicting the score because I just gave it away. I've probably done that a couple times throughout the show. My score prediction, 35-15. Predict the score down in the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Will Michigan get the win against TCU? 35-15 is my prediction. Let me know what yours are in the live chat or down in the comments.